Well, hi, it's Jennifer, and welcome to today's video. It's going to be a collection of things. The first thing I want to share with you is give you an update on my health. I am 10 weeks post-op from my fasciocutaneous flap reconstruction for breast cancer, and I'm about 3 weeks away from beginning radiation. I have my mapping session on, I believe it's the 16th of October, and then I believe on the 20th of October, I will begin 16 rounds of radiation. Then after that, I'm going to have 1 to 4 boosters. And I don't know what will determine the 1 to 4. But the reason why I am getting those boosters is because after surgery and pathology examined my mass that was removed, I had grade 2 and grade 3 DCIS. So because of that higher grade, they recommend 1 to 4 boosters. And I'm not exactly sure how they're going to work it out. Also, I do have next Monday, I have my mammogram. I thought it was just going to be for the side, my left side, which is what had the reconstruction on it. But I will be getting the mammogram with IV contrast for both breasts. When I was diagnosed with DCIS on my left side, there was something questionable on the right side, but it was just a little too small. And what I was told that depending on what the diagnosis would be for the left side, I would need to come in 6 months later to check the right side. So that will be happening on Monday. I thought I had to have a completely separate mammogram. I called the imaging center today because 6 months would be in November. And they're like, nope, actually, you're going to get both sides done next Monday. And I am a little nervous about it. I've got notes here. This will be a little more casual. And also too, later on in the video, I do have an unboxing, my Stitchfix unboxing. I want to show you some lights that I got for the home, especially now that we are entering into the dark winter months. I'm wanting to add more ambiance and warm lighting. I'm also going to show you how I was greeted this morning. I got up at 6 this morning. Normally I get up at 5, but my schedule has been off since the wedding, which my daughter was married September 16th. After she was married, my husband and I took a trip up north to Fairbanks, and I am in Alaska. If this is the first time you are seeing any one of my videos, we took a 4-day, 3-night little mini trip to Fairbanks, Alaska. Peak foliage season on the way up. It was absolutely gorgeous. And then I ended up getting really sick on the way back home. And all last week I was down and out with a cold. So I am just getting back onto schedule. But my son is so sweet. He knows I love to have lighting set in the morning time. And when I got up this morning, he had everything set. He had an ambient mode on the TV. He also had Become Ocean playing on our Alexa, which is just such a magical symphony piece by the Seattle Orchestra. And it is amazing. And it was just so sweet. So I want to show you those. I'm also coming to you with no makeup on. I'm getting ready to have a microneedling appointment. I'm a little dry because I was so sick. I was on decongestants and it has dried out my skin. But I wanted to let you know how I was doing. Right around the wedding, I was 8 weeks post-op from my surgery. And I'm going to tell you that it took the full 8 weeks before I started to feel my energy returning. It was a rather painful surgery, but I have to say, beautifully successful. So today I was getting ready and my scar right now looks really red. It's raised. It is incredibly itchy. I'm having a comb on that thing all the time, especially in the evening if I'm laying back in a chair. When I get up, that pressure on it makes it so itchy. So I've got a comb that I'm constantly scratching the thing, but it is healing beautifully. The scar that comes from across my spine all the way to the side of my breast, it is just seamless. Now that I'm 10 weeks post-op, it's looking better and better. I mean, it looked fantastic right away after surgery. There is no puckering. I mean, I still don't know how the surgeons did what they did. It's absolutely fascinating. And they took a good portion of skin. So part of my tattoo is inside of my breast now, but it's amazing the way that they were able to, they removed the skin and all the layers and fat to the muscle. They did not put the muscle, they did not transfer the muscle into my breast, just the skin and all of its layers and the fat layers. And it's really pretty amazing. My swelling is coming down. I wanted to show you. Now, I have been wearing this shirt a lot, or things that just cover. I'm still asymmetrical, but it's looking a lot better. I've not been able to fit into my normal bras at all, just because of the swelling from the surgery. And when I had my first post-op with the breast cancer, or the reconstruction surgeon, the plastic surgeon, they gave me this bra. They gave me 2 of them. And it has just been really, it's really soft, no underwire. It hooks in the front. You know, it has really good bands across the top. And this, so I have 2 of them, and I have been wearing them exclusively. For the wedding, I did have to fit myself into a bra that I had that was a neutral, like, skin tone, because of the type of top that I was wearing. And then the dress that I had measured and pre-ordered before my cancer diagnosis and surgery, you know, I think it looked pretty good. My swelling had gone down enough that I think you would have had to really look to see the asymmetry, but it was a tighter fit across the chest. It definitely compressed my breasts. But my biggest worry after my surgery was that I would have to have radiation before my daughter's wedding. But thankfully, due to the nature of my surgery, I've had to wait till the end of October. That meant I would not have to be dealing with radiation during my daughter's wedding. My second worry was, would I feel good enough? How would I feel? I mean, I had already been just so consumed with the breast cancer, and I just didn't want that to be a distraction, because I really wanted to serve my daughter. And I also hoped I wouldn't be in a lot of pain. And I have to say that I felt pretty comfortable the day of my daughter's wedding. And honestly, God blessed. The weekend before my daughter's wedding, I had so much energy. I needed to fully deep clean and redecorate. I'm bumping my prop, redecorate my home, because my daughter wanted to have her wedding photos here at the home of her getting ready, the bridesmaids, and also our family pictures here. We did do pictures at the church, but anyway, that meant I had to get everything ready. And honestly, I just felt God blessed and gave me so much oomph and energy. And I just felt the desire to nest. I was able to get everything taken care of. I had enough energy for the big rehearsal dinner. A lot of the family members for my son-in-law were coming up, and they were actually coming up for a funeral too, or a burial. Really kind of an unusual story, but they were all coming up for a burial. And they wanted my daughter and son-in-law to have the wedding at the same time. They asked them, and of course, which obviously they were willing. That was an easy answer. And we really wanted to have, we, meaning my family and I, wanted to have a really special rehearsal dinner to just help their family kind of transition from the funeral to the wedding. And then that's where we all met for the first time. And it was absolutely beautiful. I felt really good during that. I felt great during the wedding, getting ready in the morning, and it was such a blessing. The trip that my husband had scheduled for us afterwards, I would never have done that myself. I just did not have the bandwidth in my mind to really, I've not thought too far in advance since I've been diagnosed with the cancer, and then of course really active in all of the treatment right now. But I'm so glad that he scheduled that vacation. It was wonderful. I love nothing more than to ooh and ah over the beauty of Alaska. And of course, I loved having that time with my husband. It was a great time for us to celebrate and transition, because our daughter also moved out of our family home when she got married. I felt really good during all that as well. Now, I happened to come down with a really bad cold, which is completely separate, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. I am still experiencing pain. My swelling has gone down significantly. but I am still asymmetrically swollen. Where the flap is and where the mass was removed for the breast cancer, it's kind of feels hard there, which I'm sure is just part of all the healing process. My scar, like right on my scapula, is that right there? That's the scapula. I think scar tissue is trying to adhere. When I am in bed at night and I wake up in the, you know how you wake up in the middle of the night, you're moving around. Anytime that I have been on my back and I go to move, it is really painful right there. I am working on just gently massaging that. I'm sure that will loosen up and relax over time. But that's the greatest pain that I'm feeling right now, is that part of my scar. Right around the scapula area, which makes sense. There's just so much movement there. So if there's any scar tissue tethering, but I do see my breast cancer surgeon for an update before radiation. I also will be seeing the plastic surgeon as well. All that will be done after my mammogram. Then it's the mapping for radiation and then radiation. Now, what I want to do for DCIS, my DCIS playlist, originally I wanted to have all these videos already pre-made, but during the 8 weeks that I was healing from surgery, that just took anything extra that I had, because it was a rather painful recovery, but it was doable though. But it was still a major surgical recovery, and I just didn't have the energy to put into creating those videos. But I'm feeling so much better now, and I'm really looking forward to starting those. I have my notes right here. What I want to do is, and I already have for my DCIS playlist, I have my introduction video when I was first diagnosed. And that was, I think it was like the day after or the day that I got my diagnosis. I was in complete shock. I have a few little shorts where I updated at certain points. And then I have a few vlogs where I talk about my recovery. But what I want to do is I want to break up, I want the first 3 videos after that original diagnosis to be done in 3-week chunks. I have weeks 1 through 3, weeks 4 through 6, and weeks 7 through 9, and then the 8 weeks of my surgical recovery. So I want to do 4 videos where I go into a little more detail, share all of the things that I was going through at that time, whether it was doctor's appointments, researching, prepping for plastic surgery, all the different imaging, all the different blood work, even the emotions that I was going through at times. And it was really interesting. It was probably maybe a month and a half in, I found that I was struggling with guilt, oddly enough. I have a lot of cancer in my family. So I have prayed to God a lot. Like, Lord, I don't want cancer. Please don't let me ever have cancer or my family members. But I've always told God, but I know that if I ever did get it, I know that He would be with me and He would help me through the journey. I've never been angry at God, and I've not questioned God. Well, why me? Well, it is, cancer is a thing, and it just is what it is. I've never questioned God. Well, why me? And I have a friend who's going through cancer, and she's a wonderful Christian. She has multiple myeloma, which is a really gnarly cancer. And she said, I questioned why me. And she said, and then I thought, well, why not me? But God never promises us to have perfection in this life. That is not the promise. We go through all the ups and downs on this earth, and earth is not our home. In heaven, that's a whole different story. But here on earth, we are going through all of the things that earth has to offer, this life experience. What God does promise us is that He will be with us all along the way. He will comfort and guide us and help us through. We may have to walk through the hard thing, but God is there with us, and it's a tremendous comfort. So I've never been angry with God. I've never questioned God. Well, why me? I prayed about it. No. I had always told God all along, Lord, I would love to not have that cup, but if you do bring it into my life, I know that you've got me. He had me before, He has me during, and He's going to have me after. And I fully trust in that, and I'm comforted by that. But strangely enough, I struggled with guilt. Now, I was diagnosed with DCIS, which is Ductal Carcinoma in situ, which means that the cancer cells, Lord willing, are all still contained within the tumor. that there hasn't been a little cancer cell that's made its way out. Now, you never know that. Hopefully, it's all in there. And it's called stage 0. And I remember thinking, I didn't even know that there was such thing as a stage 0 breast cancer. Well, it's the best, worst place to be. Like, nobody wants cancer, but if you're going to get a diagnosis, it's the best, worst place to be. Everybody would want to have a stage 0 diagnosis. You have more, hopefully, an opportunity to be completely healed from it. You know, there's never a guarantee, but the earlier the diagnosis, the better. Well, I found myself, oddly enough, really struggling with the fact that I was at stage 0. Now, I wasn't looking for more. I don't want more. I am so thankful to have an early diagnosis, but I almost felt bad because of my dear friend who is quite fighting for her life. She's about to have stem cells removed. They're going to massively dose her body with chemo and hopefully not damage her organs, reintroduce stem cells, and hope that that'll put her cancer in remission. And she's already been on chemo pills. And I kind of struggled with, well, you know, I mean, I don't know, like, do I have a right to complain? I'm only stage 0. I went through this really weird phase, and I'm going to tell you how I made it through that and how I processed those. I think that's a normal experience when you have an early diagnosis, and maybe you know people who aren't so fortunate. And it's a little bit of a mind wrestling game, and that's something that I experienced kind of a little bit further on. Once I got over the shock and awe, I also went through a little bit of a languishing period. Your family members will respond in different ways. Both my husband and I, it was probably about the second month into my surgery recovery. I remember telling my husband, because of course I just didn't have the energy to like do a whole lot, and I didn't. And I'm like, I just feel like I'm kind of languishing. Like, I feel like I just feel kind of blah. And he was going through the same thing. So if you have a partner or your family members, a close friend, they are going to be experiencing your cancer in their own unique way as well. They want to show up for you. They want to be strong, but it's also still impacting them. And I think it's really important to give them room to express. And I've made sure, as the one who has the diagnosis, to open up the dialogue, because I want each of my family members to feel like they can share how they're feeling, and it's not going to hurt me or harm me. In fact, if anything, if we need to cry it out, we'll cry it out. If we need to hug it out, we'll hug it out. If we need to pray it out, we'll pray it out. And that's something I want to share a little more. So those will be up and coming. What I was thinking about doing too for my radiation, at first I was like, oh, I wonder if I should do a little daily short for each one, and then kind of document how I'm feeling. But I think what I'm going to do is I will maybe do week by week by week and just do little mini vlogs each day and put them into one video to document my radiation experience. My camera just died. I reached the maximum recording because I've got other things on here. Anyway, I am 5 pills away from the first 90-day treatment session of my cancer medication. I have progesterone and estrogen positive receptive cancer. That's why I don't have to take chemotherapy. I am taking anastrozole for the next 5 years. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox. I'm going to show you some different things, and I'm going to continue to tell you about my experience so far on anastrozole. There are some side effects, and I will share those with you as I unbox. So I'm going to say goodbye to you now. I've actually got to run to my microneedling appointment, but then I'm going to have some other clips, and I will continue to tell you a little bit more about my health update. I have made it to my microneedling place, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I do have a video I'll link down below where I recorded quite a bit of my experience. I'll just take a few snippets here today. I am coming to you all numbed up. Wonderful Allison, who did she's done all my microneedling here at Solera. She is delightful. She's got the best bedside manner. We were just talking about families, and anyway, she's really special. But I am numbing. I'm still congested. I will numb for about 20 minutes, I believe. and then I forgot my selfie stick at home, so I'll try to capture a few moments of this. The views from this office are so beautiful. You can see the Chugach Mountains. Look how gorgeous it's looking today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And in fact, you can see a little bit of termination dust on that peak right there, what we call when the snow starts to remain on the peaks. We call that termination dust. It's actually quite cozy with the sun coming in. I was up doing some editing, but now I've went ahead and laid back down, and it feels quite relaxing.
I made some soups.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Do you have a specialty?
I guess I am now famous for the chicken tortilla soup.
Oh.
And my family is like, well, how come you waited so long to make us this?
Oh.
It's like one of their favorites now, but good, easy crock pot meal, and then you can eat. You just munch on it for a couple of days.
Do you do a lot of crock pot meals?
Not really. I recently, I guess as I got older, this crock pot I had.
Yep. Yeah, I would see how, like, if you were back to the running, like to run in the wintertime, you'd have to.
Yeah, so like summer I want to, but I don't know. Might be a little rusty.
Yeah.
And then we'll do up under this temperature. Is this okay? Is it spicy in any area or not too bad?
It's not too bad. Like, some areas are a little spicy, but it's doable. Alright, I am all set, ready to go. No makeup for 24 hours. I have some product to put on my skin tonight, gentle cleanser, and then I cannot use any type of retinol or any type of harsh skin, like no acid or anything of that nature for 2 weeks. Yep, and I'm gonna go schedule for a month from now and then get some Dysport. They don't use Botox here, they use Dysport. I'm gonna schedule that for a month out. All right, I'll see you at the house. That was such a wonderful appointment. I feel refreshed. This is one street before I turn off to the road that will take me to my home. You can see the termination dust. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna get ready now to do the unboxing. I ended up not keeping anything from this Stitchfix box. I've had a new stylist, and I'd have to say I don't think she has me quite figured out yet, but it's still a fun service. I pay $20 a month and I'm offered 5 items. I do appreciate the variety that the stylist did put into the box. There was a pair of boots, there was a purse, pants, and then 2 tops. Now, as the remainder of this video unfolds, you're gonna see me showing you the different items that I got here from this, packaging everything up. I'm also going to show you some of my lights in the daytime. Then we're going to take a peek outside. The leaves were just falling from the trees. It was so pretty. And then last night, my husband, son, and I had a little family date night at the house. We ordered food in. We were watching Mission Impossible. Some friends of Daniel's were sending him all kinds of amazing pictures of the Northern Lights. By the time we got the messages, the Northern Lights were very soft, but I'm going to add those pictures to the end. And then I just took some bay window pictures. And that is how we'll end the video. But I wanted to tell you about my anastrozole experience so far. This is the medication that I am taking for 5 years. And the goal of that medication is to treat the entire body in case there has been any rogue cell or there is a rogue cancer cell. The most common side effect for anastrozole users is joint pain and stiffness and weight gain and dryness, overall significant dryness. And I have to say that I'm experiencing all of those. Estrogen is the moisturizer and lubricant of the body. What I didn't realize was when a woman is in menopause, her body will still make estrogen from male hormones in her body using aromatase. And I will go into more detail about that in another video, but that is what I am experiencing. I am going to get ready to go ahead and say goodbye to you in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to save the unboxing of the Turkish lamps for a different video. That way this one doesn't get too long, but I did want to give you a health update so far. I am hanging in there, just moving forward with the treatment plan and working on my mindset, having a lot of communication with my family. And of course, I'm a praying woman, so I'm having a lot of conversation with God. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.